And good morning, everyone. Welcome to another amazing day. Welcome. My name is Adahi Hippolyte from Code Avengers. We're so grateful and proud to be a part of TechWeek 2020. Good morning. It is an amazing day. I hope wherever you are that the chill's not getting to you too bad. You're safely rugged up in your classrooms with your laptops or your devices open. Oh, dear me. Ready to have an amazing tech week, learn some tech with your teachers. And if you're joining us, bright and fresh, thank you for joining us. And let's have an amazing time. So, just to introduce myself, my name is Adahi Hippolyte. I'm our, what do you call it? Host, anchor, the guy who's just sitting in the chair. But I'm here to be with you as we go through this really awesome journey through one of the exciting new courses that we've developed here at Code Avengers for our students. We'll be joined soon by one of our authors, content developers, Sarah. But just before we get started, thank you for joining us. It's going to be an amazing day. We're going to go through this course. We're going to have some fun, not just to the course, but we're also going to delve into the minds of our course developers, especially Sarah, as we're developing this course. We're going to delve a little bit more into the science and the theory and the real world application behind this course, and overall just try and answer any questions you have and have a bit of fun as well. So thank you for joining us, especially those who are joining us live. If you have any questions or any comments, or even if you just want to shout out in the chat, go ahead, shout out where you're from, what school you're joining us from, anywhere in the country. We're grateful to have you with us. That's the amazing part about technology. We can be anywhere and we can all share and enjoy this journey together. The official sort of welcome from Code Avengers. Our vision is to help each of you gain confidence in the digital age so that none of you are left behind. Not a single one of you. We want every one of our students at Tamariki who are going through school at the moment to grab the digital age with both hands and have an amazing experience. So welcome, and let's get right into it. So without further ado, I would love to introduce Sarah from our team. Now, Sarah's not actually with me here in the office. Sarah is joining us from elsewhere in the country. She'll introduce herself. But Sarah, welcome to our stream, and say hello. During winter, Sarah teases all of us. We're all here in Hamilton. Most of us are here in Hamilton, but Sarah teases us by sending us pictures of white snowy capped mountains and her family on those mountains skiing. Awesome. All right. So Sarah, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do here at Code Avengers. I'm so sorry, Sarah. I'm so sorry. I could hear you perfectly well, but our viewers couldn't. Sarah, I accidentally had you muted. Could you please just reintroduce yourself?
I sure can. So yeah, I was just telling everybody that I moved over from England in 2007, and I spent quite a few years working at a school in Wellington. So I was working at a college, so I have quite a lot of experience with sort of year 9 upwards. But since working at Code Avengers, which I've been doing for over 3 years, I've been focusing more on intermediate and primary school content. And I really enjoy that. It can be much more fun, and I've also got primary school age children that I really enjoy. They give me lots of ideas, and I can go in and sort of trial out the courses at their schools and get great feedback. So yeah, it's been really fun the last 3 years.
Awesome, thank you, Sarah. Now, So this is not the only course that Sarah has worked on for us. We've worked on so many other courses, but so this one is one of our newer courses. It is called Security Siege. And Sarah, do you just want to quickly introduce it, and then we'll dive into the course?
Yeah, so this was designed last year for the Hour of Code. And the Hour of Code theme last year was kind of using computer science for good. So we were sort of thinking, what kind of good things do computer science do? I'm really sort of interested in cybersecurity, and I found when I was working in Wellington that the students really kind of enjoyed cybersecurity and hacking and things. So I felt like be an engaging content topic, and also just I just think it's really good that we can help give people advice so people can keep themselves safe online. Really important thing these days.
Awesome. All right. Now, so excuse me. If you are joining us in your classroom, please feel free to follow the link in the description. It takes you straight to the course. This is not a course you need to have a subscription or a payment for. You just jump in and join us. It's going to be free forever, so you can join us now. You can join us in a couple of days, a couple of weeks, a couple of years. It's going to be there for you guys for as long as you need. So follow that link, jump on in, and we're just going to transition over to the next screen. And there we go. We can now see the screen. So Sarah, take us away. Security Siege. Let's have some fun.
Okay, off we go. Okay, I'll just start here. These introduce the characters to you. So these are Niko, he's the boy on the left, and Sakura, she's the girl on the right. They have appeared in some of our other courses. We try and sort of pull different characters out and put them in lots of different courses. So this is Security Siege, and you're looking at the Crown of Knowledge. That's kind of focal point of the story. Okay, all our kind of courses have like a sort of story behind them. Okay, off we go then. So the King's Crown of Knowledge. So when you sort of move over the crown, you can see there's lots of little areas that you can explore. So we'll just read a little bit about the crown. So the different stones, they've got special powers. So the green emerald can recognize anybody and find things out like who they are, what their name is. And the blue crystal tells the king about listens to conversations and suggests treason, and treason means when the king, like people are trying to sort of overthrow the king. The red sapphire warns the king when unknown soldiers are approaching the castle. It's kind of like sending him an alert. And the white opal tells the king where everyone's spending all their money.
Kings always want to know that stuff.
You might kind of wonder what was all that about. What we were trying to get you to think about is that these days online there is so much data about you, your parents, and so on. Like every photo you take is stored online, and every instant message you send to people is online, and every purchase you make is online. So it's really important to think about
every TikTok.
Yeah, what data's online, like who's got access to it, and also are you keeping your sort of information safe and secure? So so it's given Sakura a little food for thought. Okay, now we've got a little video to watch, which Arahi will put on for us.
Welcome to Cyber Summit 2019. My name is Cyrena.
Sorry everyone, I'll just restart that.
Welcome to Cyber Summit 2019. My name is Cyrena, and I will be your guide. There's a hacker attack every 39 seconds, and hacking affects 1 in 3 Americans. Businesses are losing millions, and cyber criminals are becoming more sophisticated in their methods. If this battle is to be won, we need more cybersecurity experts. By 2022, it's estimated that globally there will be almost 1.8 million unfilled cybersecurity positions. Remember, not every hacker is a criminal or has bad intent. Some companies even employ hackers to test their security systems. Put on your virtual reality headset and come and meet some hackers from the Academy of Magic. We have some security issues that need sorting.
Back to you, Sarah.
Okay, well, hopefully everyone was listening carefully because I've got a few questions now. So, first one, are all hackers criminals? What do you think, Harry?
Well, ordinarily I used to think, yes, all hackers were criminals, but that made me really think. Maybe there are some okay-ish ways of using hacking, so I think no.
I think no. Okay, and you'd be right, well done. Right. Next question then. How many people in America are affected by hacking? What do you think?
This one really surprised me. It was really it's actually a really big number when you think about the fraction of it. So from memory, it was 1 in 3, but that's actually a really big number. Is that like, what are we talking about by affected by hacking here? So are we talking like total system control, or we're just talking about a small thing?
Yeah, I mean, it could be anything as small as you've kind of accidentally clicked on a link, or you're receiving sort of spam, into your inbox. But even I was really surprised. There's a site you can go on and you can put your email address in, and it will tell you whether or not like your email address has been involved in a data breach. So so it's not your fault so much, but it's like another company. They've got all this data on you, and like your login accounts and so on, and they've got hacked because their systems aren't very good, and then it's kind of like then your password's been compromised. So yeah,
oh, wow.
It's not always your fault sometimes.
So that's probably a really good idea to have different passwords for all of your logins as well, instead of using the same one over and over.
Certainly is. We'll be finding more out about passwords in a bit.
Awesome.
Okay. So what do we think then?
Oh, was it 1 in 3?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What was that?
Awesome. Doing well. Right. Last question then on the video. Is there a global shortage of cybersecurity staff?
Most definitely. We need as many of our young people to consider as a career forward as possible. We need more, because the more we can trust our security staff, the more secure the future and our information will be. So I know it sounds like sort of a tagline, but we actually do need more people.
Yeah, totally. And that was a big motivation behind me designing this course, because I really want to provide students with sort of opportunities, sort of see what's out there. And if you go on and read online, I mean, the unemployment rate for cybersecurity staff is 0%. There's no one's getting laid off like anything. They're looking for heaps more people. So it's a really, really cool sort of secure job to go into at the moment.
Awesome.
So yes, there is a huge shortage. Okay, so Niko and Sakura have got some VR headsets on. So we are actually just going to sort of leave this place and be transported to somewhere else.
Just a second this here, just for those of you who may be just joining us on the stream, welcome. This is a walkthrough as well as a chance to talk with one of our principal course developers, Cyrena. So if you have any questions, feel free to type it in the chat, and also feel free to jump into the course itself. Description, the link is in the description below. It's free, just jump on in and feel free to follow along with us. Thanks, Cyrena.
Awesome. Okay, we're in a kind of, an old tavern now. I'm quite into sort of Harry Potter and that kind of thing. So it's a little bit sort of based on things like the old sort of cauldron sort of in. So it's talking about the hats. So pay attention, because you are going to have to try and work out whose hat is who in a second. Right, we're going to meet a few people now. So I'll try and explain who they all are. Right, so Cyrena says, "Hi Lauro, I didn't get a job on the magical security team at the castle." And then Lauro, the girl in the purple dress, says, "I heard that Hanika did, probably because her dad works there at the castle." So Cyrena's a little bit outraged. She says, "Oh, it seems to be it's who you know and not actually what you know." And then her friend, Lauro said, "I think that you should have got the job." And Laura's quite keen to get some revenge on the king. And she suggests that they should go and break into the castle and steal the king's crown of knowledge. I'm not sure about that. Wow, so Cyrena's thinking about it, and she's kind of thinking, well, I could actually be doing him a favour, so maybe it's a positive thing. She really wants to show the king about how bad Hinika is. So Hinika is the person that works for the king. And here we are, we meet Hinika. So the guy on the old professor guy, he's the one that was their teacher at the sort of magic school. And so he says, well done to Hinika. He says that the king will need all the help he can, having his crown of knowledge protected. And then Hinika talks about some people called Raziel and Blade, because they're using their magic skills to trick and hurt people, like black magic. Yeah, so the professor, he's not very happy. He did have suspicions that those guys have been up to some naughty stuff. So.
I like how you've used magic as the metaphor for hacking and for programming, because if we don't take the time to upskill ourselves, to learn and develop some of those skills, it really can feel like magic, and people can digitally run circles around us. We wouldn't even know which way we're facing. But there's also, if we put a bit of effort in, the magic just becomes quite normal. Yeah,
and really important as well that there's the black and the white magic. The good things we can do with computer science, and also the not so good things. Okay, so the smaller guy, these guys are brothers. He says, Raziel, can you tell me exactly what the truth spell does? So Raziel says back to his older brother, well, Blade, I've kind of hacked the spell a bit. So people have to tell the truth. So if I ask them where their money is hidden, they tell me, but afterwards they can't remember talking to me. And Blade thinks that's really funny, and he's like, oh, I've got so much to learn. So he obviously thinks his big brother's like super cool. Okay, so we are going to look at the hacks now, because there are lots of different types of hackers, and they've kind of got these little names. You could be like a white hacker or a red hacker and so on. So we're just going to go through them. I'll go from right to left, because you've probably heard of some of the ones on the right a little bit more. So your black hackers, yeah, they're the guys, bad guys. They're out there to sort of destroy data and steal it. Yeah. Now, the green one, you might not have heard of that so much, but they're the newbies. So they're not that experienced, but they are very keen to learn. So they might sort of turn into the black hackers eventually. Then we have our white hackers. They're the good guys. And they're the people, they're the people that get paid heaps, that work for companies to show, where the vulnerabilities are, where the problems are, and provide advice to sort of how to make it better. Right, then we've got a grey hat. So these guys, they're not nasty, they're not malicious, they're not out to do bad stuff. However, they, if they feel it's their moral duty to do something, they will break into the system without permission if they feel like they need to go and tell the world about something bad that's kind of happening. Then we've got our blue hat hackers. And these guys, someone might have made them annoyed, and these guys want to seek revenge, and they'll go and do something. Or maybe, like imagine, you split up with your boyfriend or something, and then you're like, well, I want to get some revenge on you for doing that. Okay, the last one, the red hat people, the red hat hackers. Now these guys are ruthless. So they know a lot, and they're very skilled. And if they heard that a black hat hacker's done something, they're going to want to get back at them and do some sort of attacks on those people.
Wow.
So these two guys in the middle here, the Laura and Professor Murloc, we've done these ones for you. So she's a blue one because she wants to get revenge on the king, and Murloc is a red hat hacker because he's not very happy about what the black hat people are up to. So we've done those ones for you because they can be a little bit tricky to understand. But you guys have now got to work out who's the black, the grey, the green, and the white. So Ari, any ideas what we might match them up to?
So they're wearing the hat. The hat colour, we just mentioned the description. Yep. Yeah. Awesome. So the one you had your mouse on wants to learn some black magic. So that one I remember was the green hat. That was the noobs that just want to give it a go. Yeah. Yep. And then so that'll go on to green, but we won't just switch it just yet. So the one that's over the top of the green, over the top of Blade. That one over there. Okay. Uses black magic to steal money from people. Okay, yeah. No, that one should probably stay where it is. Because
yeah, sometimes they are in the right place. You've been lucky.
yeah, because he's a bad dude. Now the one that's over the green hat works as a security expert of the castle. So that's the white hackers.
Yeah, that's Hanika. She's working for the king at the moment, yeah.
So we'll switch that over. And then now the one that was on white, it says, wants to show the king how bad his security is by hacking in. So not necessarily like white, but not necessarily trying to break anything either. So that one will go on to Cyrena with the grey hat. And the one that's above Cyrena will go on to the green. Yep, that looks good to me.
Go, see if we're right. Yeah, awesome. Good work. Okay, so there we go. It's the end of task 1. So we've learned all about hackers. So Ari's going to get the video on and we're going to move on to task 2.
What's that?
I need your help to get into the castle. We'll need to authenticate ourselves and trick the guards into thinking we work at the castle. There are 3 common things used for authentication. The first is something you have, such as a smartphone or an access card. The second is something you know, such as a password or a memorable phrase. The third is something you are. This is known as biometrics and includes things such as fingerprints, iris scanning of your eyes, and voice recognition. Your first challenge is to get the castle to drop the drawbridge down. It looks like they used my music security spell idea.
Betty's here.
Okay, right, so we've got to get breaking into this castle now. So outside it's kind of got this big board with some musical numbers on it. So yeah, if you click on them, and it plays a tune. So the idea is that you've got to sort of play a tune to get in. Now, so Sakura's thinking, well, what is the correct sequence of notes? Which order do we need to get them in? And then Niko says, well, Cyrena said that she never changed the tune. Like, so basically Cyrena made this piece of technology while she was working at the magic school and the king used it. But yeah, it's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You think of any problems with that, Ari?
I can think of quite a few problems with it. It's not the most secure password, guys.
Anyway, let's see if it gets us in. Oops, yeah, that was only 1 second. Yeah, so that gets us in. Right, so now we've got to get through the door, but there's a big kind of gap there in that square. So Niko's got some a little bag with some stones in it, and he says, well, let's see if we can fill the gap up. Okay, so this is a tangram puzzle. So we might need to rotate some stones around. So we've got to choose 2 stones to fill in this gap here to make it into a complete square. So I might need to turn them.
Yeah, I was just sort of turning my head just to see if I could figure it out.
A lot of people think it's this one because they kind of think it sort of goes like that. But then you're kind of left with a...
There's not quite the piece left over. I thought it was a square.
Yeah, but that's better. That doesn't fit either.
Yeah. It's going to be the little triangle bottom left, and then also the... What's that shape called?
Parallelogram.
A parallelogram.
Yeah, so the parallelogram kind of goes in and then we've got space for the triangle.
Awesome.
And if you just look now, you might just catch a glimpse of it finished on the door. There we go. You can kind of see the triangles upside down. Now, we're getting on to the last part now. So the king has a beard recognition system. So you have to have, like, all the people in this land have beards. And yeah, basically it's Hanika, that's the girl that works for the king. It's her kind of like poor attempt that she did at a facial recognition system. And Niko's a bit concerned though, because he doesn't have a beard, and then he's also a bit worried because he looks at Sakura and she's waving her magic wand around. So I wonder what's going to happen next.
Uh-oh.
He's a bit shocked, but she assures him it's only going to last for 10 minutes just to help him get into the castle.
It's not a bad one for 10 minutes work, you know.
Right, so we're going to have to join up all the dots because that's kind of how facial recognition works. It kind of works out features on your face. So we're going to have to join them up. All right, so first of all, I'm going to trace through the moustache.
So is this kind of how, like, obviously in a lot more complex way, but is this how facial recognition software works, or like fingerprint technology works, so to speak, Sarah?
Yes, it's kind of looking for sort of contours and features, and it measures the distance between certain points. So with facial recognition, it will measure things like the gap from your nose upwards and so on, and down. Yeah, we actually have, as part of our lesson plans, we do actually have a whole activity on facial recognition, and it tells you all about how it works.
Oh wow!
And it's a cool video to watch. And and there's a little activity. It sort of tells you about, you get to do a sort of tracing activity and try and match people up. Yeah, so you can see it takes.
So it's a 14-point facial recognition activity.
Yeah, they're called nodal points.
Cool.
You can kind of, and basically you've got like a unique footprint. So like everyone's face will be, spaced out in a certain way. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's really. That's an activity you can get your teachers to do with you.
And for our teachers and our students, they can get to this activity. It's not hidden behind a paywall or anything. They can just get to this as part of the lesson plan.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep. Oops. Okay. Yeah, that's part of the free resources. Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay. So just to finish this one off, we just need to do the angles between the beard, and there we should be in. There we go. So we've made a beard match. And we fooled the system. Right, so what we've been looking at in that task 2, we've been looking at what's called authentication. And authentication is you sort of showing that you are who you say you are. And you can do that in 3 different ways. It can be things that you have, that's actual sort of physical things, not that are part of you, but belong to you. Like, so in that task, they had something, but for you it might be something like you've got your phone or a credit card or something. It's also things what you know, things that are in your head you can remember, but it's also things what you are. That's kind of like what we were just looking at, to do with like the way your face looks and so on. So we need to match these ones up now. I'll give you a few hints and tips there, Ohi.
Alrighty, so what you have, like you said, it's something like a key or your phone, like an authentication app, as you said. So that'll be the special shaped rock. So in this one, it's a special shaped rock, but for us, it could be anything that we have that authenticates. What you know will be, for this one, it was a memorable tune, but it could be a password or a PIN. And then what you are, fingerprint for your phone or facial recognition. Yep.
Yeah.
Beard recognition.
Okay, well that's task 2 done. So I will over to Harry to put the video for task 3 on.
Awesome.
I have heard the crown of knowledge is in the king's private quarters. This part of the castle seems secure. There are locks on most of the doors which can only be opened if you know the passcode. The king is quite forgetful. I bet he has written the passcodes down somewhere, or used numbers he'll remember. Let's take a look in the study. It's open.
Right, back to you, Sarah.
Okay. Okay, so Cyrena says, wow, look at that rug. And then Niko says, oh yeah, red, purple and gold are the king's 3 favourite colours. So try and remember that if you can, remember those 3 colours. Quite important later on. Inside his study. So Niko says, this castle is seriously old. That painting was made in the year 960. Sakura's like, how do you know that? And he says, well, it's because I can see the Roman numerals at the bottom. Let's learn a little bit about some Roman numerals. Right. Do you ever remember doing this at school, Arahira?
I do, actually. We still had the old abacus. It was quite fun.
Yeah, so can you remember sort of what these things at the top are worth and what the ones at the bottoms are worth?
So working from the bottom right, the I was 1, 2.
Yeah, that's it. 1, 2. Yeah, we've got to 4.
Yep.
About 5. We've run out now. How do we get to 5?
5 is you drop down all of the I and it's just the V.
Yep.
And so then the V is 5, and then you add on the I's to make it up to 8 is the highest it can go.
Yeah, 1 more, I think up to 9.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then and it's just like the base number of counting. X is 10.
Yeah.
C is 100.
Yeah, so all these ones down here they go by 10, so you've got like 1, 10, 100. Whereas these ones at the top, the V is 5 and the L is 50 and
500.
D is 500. Yeah, I don't know, I only remember doing the sort of 10s and the 5s. I was actually learnt something new when I come to do this course about D's and L's.
I read a bit of asterisks as I was growing up, so the C was a centurion. I remember that one.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, let's see, like the cent, that's where it comes from. Yeah.
Yep.
100. Right, so we've got to make 960. Oh, I'll tell you what, I'll start you off. There you go, you've got 500.
960. And then
500. So we're going to need another.
We're going to
400.
need 4 of the C's.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yep,
Okay.
and then we'll need the L, which is the 50.
Yep, you'll just notice now it's starting to translate this for us. So we've got 900, which is CM. Yeah. And then, CMO up to 950. So we just need another 10.
And then that's the X is another 10.
Yeah. So there we go. CMLX. Right, so it says here, the king has used the year CMLX that was on the painting. So that's what we need to type to get through this door. So CMLX.
I think what this activity shows me, and it's quite funny, is you still shouldn't leave hints of your passwords scattered around your house. It's not the best idea.
Yeah, and just not a good idea to sort of use obvious things like dates, and not a good idea. Like someone might know your date of birth. So yeah.
Yep.
Right, so we've made it through. We're in the King's Library now, but unfortunately the Crown of Knowledge is not in here, so we're going to have to go and try another door. Now we are at a door that's got colours on it. It says the colour lock does not allow colours to be used more than once. Have you got any idea? I actually changed that myself. I used to let them use colours more than once, but have you got any idea why for the activity I changed it just to be only once?
Because there's like 365 colours or something.
No, it's just because if you can the more sort of combinations there are, the more difficult it gets. It's taking people too long to sort of solve, so we made it a little bit simpler. Now you've got to. Can you remember the king's 3 favourite colours?
I actually cheated a little bit when we were looking at the rug. I quickly wrote it down.
Good. What were they then? Can you remember?
It was. I thought it was gold, red, and then purple.
Gold, red, and purple. Okay. So we can try that. So we can go gold, red, and purple. Oh, by the way, if you can't remember, you can click on the door and it does tell you. All right. Well, unfortunately, the gold, red, and purple's not letting us in. So, any other ideas? It's the right colours, but they might be in the wrong order. What should we go for?
Red, purple, gold.
Red, purple, and gold. Let's see if is there anyone out there on the chat. Let us know if you get in before Arahi does. Okay, no, so red, purple, gold, that's not got us in either.
Oh, I mean, purple, gold, red. I suppose is because we can't use them over again. It's got to be the next iteration.
And there we go. You're in.
Oh yes.
Okay, so yeah. So you had 3 colours there, but you could only use them once. So and you were lucky you got in the 3rd time. But like, how many times might you have had to try? Like, how many different combinations are there?
Is that like 8? Like, so assume it can only be used once. Is that 8?
Okay. Let's try 8. Oh no, it's not 8.
Oh no, it's
Either
not.
go up or down.
I'm gonna go up because I reckon there's probably more combinations. The math escapes me right now. Oh.
It's actually 6 because because you're only allowed to use them once. There's only 6 combinations.
Oh yeah.
But you will see in a minute if we said they could be used multiple times, like if it had been say red gold or something, you start putting more options in, then it does start to get trickier. So I'm going to nurse you now. So Niko's saying, well, I was really lucky that we knew the 3 colours, otherwise we'd have had to try out 125 possible combinations. And Sakura's like, well, how do you work that out? So yeah, the way you work it out is the possible colours, there's 5, then you do times 5 times 5 3 times, because there's 3 different places on the door. But as I said, I made it a bit easier. I said, you could only use the colours once, because otherwise we've been there all day. So they are you're in a kids' nursery. There's not much in there, definitely not the kind of knowledge. And Niko's like, well, there's only one more door to try. So see if you can making your brain work here now. I'll do some maths. You've got a 4-digit pin, like we quite often have on our cards that we put in to get money out. Obviously each decimal number's got 10 different possibilities, 0 to 9. So what do you reckon, if you how many different combinations for a 4-digit pin do you think there are?
So remember that formula that you just had before? It was the number of combinations, and then it was sort of squared by the number of digits.
Yeah. Yep. So last time we had 5 colours, whereas this time we've got 10 digits. And last time we did 5 times 5 times 5 because it was just 3 places, but this time we've got 4 places. Yeah.
So it's going to be 10 times 10 times 10 times 10.
Times 10. That's right. Yeah. That's it.
Which is 10,000.
Amazing,
That's
isn't it? 4-digit pin and 10,000 different possibilities.
Imagine how long it's going to take my kids to break into my phone if they knew that. Let's keep waiting a minute to try the password again.
Okay, Sakura is not happy. She's been kicking the door. She can't get in. So Niko's trying to calm her down. She's really frustrated. She's like, well, 10,000 different combinations to get. There's they've got to find four different numbers to fit in here, 4 different letters. But he saw, you knock something off the door, something's fallen off, and then Sakura picks up the piece of wood off the floor, and they find the word king scratched on the door. So we're going to type in king. That's actually, because these are letters, there's actually be way more than 10,000, because
26 times 26 times 26 times 26.
Yeah. Oops. Let's go back. Okay, so we are in. So yeah, main takeout from this task is the password security was appalling. Okay, he left himself open to attack. So there was problems with the color password, problems with the king password, and also problems with the year 960 password. So yeah, here we'll give you a go at matching these up.
Okay, the color password was too short, so it doesn't take long to work out because it was only 3 options.
Yeah, only 6 possible combinations.
Yes. The king password was too obvious and was written, literally written on the door, so Yeah,
that's kind of like, people leaving their passwords in a notebook or something.
Yes. Yeah. And then the 960 password, it was was a little bit more tricky, but it wasn't really. Like, if you're looking for a password, it would be a pretty obvious one to look for. And you just had to put into Roman numerals, so it wasn't a particularly effective password.
Yeah. So. Okay, so on to task 4. And Ari will play the video for us.
A video.
There are 100 million possibilities for an 8-digit password, so cracking it would be very difficult for a human to do. However, computer software can guess an 8-digit password in seconds. To be really secure, a password should have at least 10 characters. People don't often get hacked by software. They get tricked by phishing attacks. Humans use telephone calls, emails and instant messaging to trick people into giving away personal information or clicking on a bad web link. We've made it to the room where the crown of knowledge is stored. I need to perform a ransom spell to take control of the crown. However, it's constantly being watched. This guard takes his job seriously and would do anything for the king. We need to consider some social engineering tactics that prey on human weaknesses.
And back to you, Sarah.
Okay, so if you're paying attention, there's a question here. How quickly can a computer guess an 8-digit password? Obviously for a human, it's going to be really quite tricky, very time consuming for us, but we've got special computer software and a real speedy computer processor. Yeah, how quickly do you think it could spit it out?
Oh, I think you can do it in seconds.
Yep, they certainly can these days. Computers are that powerful.
Super quick.
Yeah. Okay, so from that video as well, they mentioned something called phishing. Remember what that was? I'm hungry now thinking about food.
So I think it's just like, even though it's spelled differently, it's just like normal phishing. You dangle a little bit of a bait and try and trick people to give away their information or something. So tricking people into giving away personal information.
Mm-hmm.
I like phishing, like the F spelling of phishing.
Yeah, but lots of the Code Avengers people like phishing, don't they?
We do, don't we?
So, yeah, we're going to look now at kind of scams and human weaknesses, because quite often it's not necessarily powerful computers and things that actually find out people's passwords. Quite often it's just people sort of getting you to to sort of trust them or fee or something. So down the left here, got quite a lot of weaknesses. If you're not sure what some of these words mean, you can just click on them. Like haste, that means to feel that you need to act quickly, and so on. So these little hints come up. So we've got a couple of different scenarios, and we've got to match them up to the to the sort of weakness. So, for example, which one do you think might be the trust that you feel like, this is trustworthy? I feel like it is what it says it is.
The second one down where it says the link looks like it's from chatting, my phone company, and their logo is at the top of the email.
Yeah, so a lot of scams, they try and reproduce, they use the logo and other things just to make you think, oh yeah, that looks like my company. Because sometimes we're so busy, we just, we open our emails and don't necessarily read carefully. Okay, what about fear? Like maybe you feel like you're worried that you've got to take some action because something that makes you think, oh, I really should.
If I don't pay this unpaid fine, I might end up in prison, and it's not even a fine. It's just someone getting some money off you. Yeah,
so quite often, especially on these sort of telephone calls, people will they're really mean to older people. They might say, oh, if you don't do this, we're going to cut your electricity off or something like that. Yeah, so they play on right, haste. As I said, that's all about acting quickly. So what might happen to make you?
The attachment from the boss said urgent read now. I better open it right now, which is really funny because whenever I get a a letter from the boss that says urgent, read now, I don't open it.
So yeah, so I mean, quite often it'll let you get emails and it'll say things like, you must pay immediately, or else it will go up to like $1,000 or something. So yeah, it's just that kind of making you go like, must do something quickly. Right, curiosity. This is a big one. Quite often it's like might be just something to click on where you're like, oh, what's that about? And so they're sort of playing on your curiosity, things that you might be interested in. But what can they do to sort of reel you in to go and look at?
Yep. My favorite singer has died. What happened? I must read that news story. We got a lot of this a few years ago, where people were saying famous people were dying, and then the famous people person would get on their Twitter or whatever, and just say, "No, still here."
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just that kind of, I don't know. If you suddenly feel like an article is drawing you in too much, there's probably a reason. Like I can't often find at like the bottom of the news articles, there's things that it tries to get you to read because the sort of the tagline's really interesting. Then you click on it and it's clearly just like advertising and
yeah.
And then sort of greed, like not so much us being greedy, but just sort of something, there's something in it for us. So sometimes they'll always be like, oh, if you do this, you'll get this. So that's quite often how they can get you to click on something or do something.
Mm.
So yeah. Lots of human weaknesses and lots of ways that people can exploit them. So they decide their best thing, if they want to get to this kind of knowledge, they are going to prey on the human weakness of haste, and they're going to sort of talk about how the king needs to urgently see the guard. So they make this fake letter up. It says, "Dear Alfred, we are being attacked in the Forgotten Forest. You must come and rescue me immediately. If you don't, your head will be in the stocks next week." If anyone doesn't know what the stocks are, they're sort of the old-fashioned sort of wooden things you put your head in and then you get your head in. So we've kind of tried to do this as an analogy of, like an email. Obviously, on days that we've been sending messages, but you've got to start thinking about, what would be the things that you would examine and consider and take your time over before deciding whether or not you think this is real or whether you think it's a scam. So this here is like the little sort of wax seal here. Mm-hmm. So what number do you think we should drag there?
Well, number 4 talks about the wax seal. Just making sure that it's actually real wax.
Yeah. So, for example, like if you get an email you suspect it's a scam, it's always a really good idea to go off and look at the who it's from, and have a good click down and actually look at the address, because sometimes the subject will look really official, but then when you go up it might be like, so if you ever get something from like @codeavengers123. I don't know, FB or something, like it's not from us, it's someone that's trying to impersonate us. Yep. All right, what about this one up here? This is just on the paper.
Mm-hmm. So that would be sort of similar to what you're saying. Does the paper used for the letter seem light and low quality? And if we're looking like an email, if it comes through and it's a little bit sort of patchy and dodgy in spaces, it's usually because it's just been hacked together, or if the logo is like really a low res logo.
I was also thinking about things like the spelling. Quite often, like people make spelling mistakes if it's unprofessional, and you can think, oh, it's not really from that company.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My just a side story. My wife got a letter from my wife's a nurse, and so when she got a letter one time saying that nurses had been given a pay rise and she was due a bit of back pay, when it came through, there was a few small spelling errors, and the logo was really low, or was pixelated and stuff. And we looked at it, we were like, and it was asking us to not to call them, but to send back through an email to confirm her registration details and bank account and stuff. And we're just like, so we didn't actually do it. And instead what we did is we jumped on the internet and went to the official website and called them and spoke to a person. And then after like 20 minutes of talking to them, we finally realized it was real. They just did a really bad letter. but never trust it.
No, that's why, like, number 1, it says check with the Queen. Did he actually go to the forest?
Oh, yes.
So yeah, always a good idea. If you've got a little bit of doubt, go and check. Yeah.
Google the company and check if it's really real. Talk to somebody.
So remember the thing about the haste. You must come and rescue me immediately. They're saying just hold fire. Just wait a little bit. Wait till you get relieved before you run off.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last one, just stop and think, is this really, real? Like, would the king actually do that to Alfred? He's one of his sort of trusted, people. So yeah, lots of things to think about then. Okay, so in that task we've learned all about scams, and we're now on to the last task. Over to you, Arahi, for the video.
I have told the king that I will only release the ransom spell if he gives me a job and lets me train the castle staff in better security. Now let's see if your security training has paid off. We'll do a few quizzes before your virtual reality journey ends. First, we'll revisit password security. As we saw, even the most secure passwords can get compromised if you fall prey to a scam. So you'll need to think about tips you would give to the general public to keep them safe. Lastly, we'll consider the 3 different methods of authentication. 2-factor authentication is becoming popular, as companies feel a password alone is not enough security.
And back to you, Sarah.
Okay, so Niko lets us know there's actually lots of websites where you can go and check whether your current password is very secure. And Sakura's already been on there. She's pretty confident. She says it's going to take 1,000,000 years to crack my password. Niko's not quite so sure because his password is Niko07. He said, well, let's go and have a look on this website. So we'll go on there. So let's check out and see how secure Niko's password is. Niko07. Right, so it's saying here it's going to take him, so take a computer 200 milliseconds, which is like less than a second to crack his password. And,
that's not very long.
No, and it's got some reasons there as to, up a little bit, as to why that might be. So yeah, the biggest problem is it's really short. So the more characters in your password, the more secure it will be, because for every password, for every character you add on, it just adds those extra combinations and takes longer to crack. Yeah, it's just saying it could do with a few more symbols maybe. Yeah.
Yep.
So if we say put something else in, like, just see, can you see as I start to add characters, can you see we're up to 4 days now?
Oh wow.
Another one.
4 months.
Yeah, and so on. So can you see the power of like every extra character you have in your password? So just even making up a really random sort of, I don't know, it might just be like, Sarah is on TV or something. I don't know, just like a really random phrase. We're trying to make it as, as crazy as.
You've still got to remember it, but you've got to try and have lots of digits and characters in there.
Yeah, and in a way, having all those symbols and things doesn't necessarily make it more secure and can make it harder for you to remember. Sometimes it's just the length generally. That's the thing that makes it more important. So yeah, it's a cool website. There's quite a few of them, but good idea to go off and test how strong your password is.
That's pretty cool.
So Niko07, not good. Right, so we've done quite a lot about passwords here. So do you want to be the do's or the don'ts?
I will do the don'ts actually.
Okay, you're making me go first.
All right.
Okay, well, I'll do a do first then. So what should you do? Oh, you said earlier about changing your password regularly. Yeah.
Don't use personal information such as a pet name or date of birth.
Yeah, we learned that. Do. Right, as I just said, make it kind of random.
Yep. And don't use less than 8 characters. Always make it longer is better.
Yep. At least 8, if not 10, preferably. Good idea to use numbers and symbols, if possible. Just makes it a bit harder to crack.
No, definitely don't make the password the same as your username. That's instant crack.
No, people used to do that years ago.
Most websites and accounts won't let you do it anymore. Like they'll just be like, no, you can't. But yeah.
I think people got used to it now. I think, years ago it was just quick and easy, wasn't it? Just to type the same thing. I know I was thinking about it, like, I did actually, one of my passwords years ago was like my pet name. But I think, you just didn't really know at the time. You just did it until people kind of said, that's not a good idea.
Well, I mean,
right.
A lot of times people didn't know who your pet was unless they actually knew who you were.
Yeah.
Whereas now, like, people have social media accounts for their pets, so.
Yep, you'd be like, oh yeah, he's called Bonnie or Bernie or something, and go and type it in, Yep. You're surprised how much people can find out from you online if you don't keep your pages secure. Right, so last do for me, I'm going to say that I think we should use upper and lowercase letters.
Yep, and then the last don't use the same password for every account. Do switch it up and change it around. Yeah,
definitely. I tend to I have one password for my really secure password for my banks and things, and I might have another one for work, and then I have another one that's maybe less secure for my other sort of sites that I'm not so worried about.
I use a password manager, and I put everything in there except my bank password. That password is only in my head. I will never commit it to digital storage.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Right, this task is just getting you to think about recapping about scams. So you've just received an email. It's come from the South District Courts, and it says you've got to click here and pay a $500 fine. Otherwise, you may be sent to prison. We've got to think about two things that we shouldn't do. Two things not to do.
Things that you shouldn't do. You definitely shouldn't just give them your credit card details until you've done some checking. I would say don't click on the link in the email as well, because that's another way they could get access to your information.
Yeah, sometimes when you click on links and things, it can sometimes install kind of malware on your computer or spyware or something. So, be really careful clicking on links in sort of dubious emails. Right, so we are looking at authentication, which we did in task 2. Remember, it was 3 things. It can be things that you have, things that you know, and things that you are. So I'll have a go. I'll do the what you have. So we talked earlier, they're like kind of physical things, like you might own a card or like a phone. Often they will send things to your phone. And I don't know if they use these as much, but a few years ago they used to have these things called key tokens.
Yep, we used to have them in banking quite a bit, a number of years ago.
Yeah.
Yep. And then what you know. So these are things that you know in your head, or you can verbally say. So it'll be your password, obviously, and your PIN code, or a memorable date.
Yeah, as you say, things that you can remember. Hopefully haven't written down. Right, so that leaves us with these 3 things. As we were saying, they're all to do with your sort of body. It's something that's unique to you, like no one else has your voice or fingerprint. It's quite cool actually. One of my banks, it's recording my voice now, and I find that great. I can just ring up and just talk, and they're like, "Yep, it's you," and I find that much easier.
That's actually really cool. I thought IRD were going to do that, but they never quite got that far. You still have to state your name and everything else like that.
So yeah, what then people tend to do these days is something called 2-factor authentication, where you don't just rely on one thing. It might be like you put a passcode in or something, but then they might then send something else to your phone, which you then got to put another code in, just so that they're then saying, "Oh, I'm checking that you've actually got the thing that you say you have." And as I mentioned about the banks are starting to record your voice, so that's great. It's known as something called biometrics, and Sakura said it's an area of computer science that she's really interested in. So as you sort of progress through into college or university, these are some of the sort of areas that you can specialise in. Really interesting. And then that has brought us to the end of our journey. Yeah. So then they talk about the facial recognition unplugged activity, which we looked at earlier. As I say, once you've gone through the course, maybe your teacher might do this activity with you. Fun one.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Sarah. Are there any other thoughts that came to you as you're going through, just sort of snippets of wisdom about being safe for our kids online?
I think it's just really important make sure that your school's teaching you all about the security. I'm hoping Really nice to hear from you guys out there. Just, do you do some sort of, being safe online with your school, or has your parents talked to you about it? Yeah, it's just really important to stay up to date. Things are changing all the time. Yeah, just really important to kind of keep up to date with what's happening, and then just making sure that you're sort of one step ahead of the criminals, really, because they're always out there to try and scam you.
Probably the thing that comes to mind for me is we didn't have it so much when I was a younger man at school, where a lot of it was very difficult to find information about a person online because the internet was brand new, no one was using it, or only businesses were using it. It's very difficult to put information on the internet, and so people tended not to put personal information on the internet unless they were like a really famous person. But nowadays, information about you as a person can be put online in the digital space, and it can stay there for a long time. So probably my little bit of advice is still participate with your friends and your community and your school and things, but just be aware of what goes online about yourself, because it doesn't go away. It's always there. And those funny TikToks that you make dancing to Fortnite videos or whatever, or a picture or a post on Facebook, they don't go away. So just be aware of what you put online, and make sure that no matter what point you are in your life, it's the kind of things you'd be happy to share, and there's nothing there you would be concerned about for your security. Awesome.
Yep. Good advice to have.
Alrighty. Well, Sarah, thank you so much for joining us. It's been lots of fun going through the course, and it was lots of fun doing the facial recognition course and things. And just do a quick transition. And just learning about cybersecurity, and like treating it like it was magic a little bit, and having a little bit of fun with that. But hopefully our students got a lot out of that. For our teachers and our students, this course will always be free. You can jump in, you can do the facial recognition unplugged activity, you can have a look at some of those links, you can go through any of those activities again yourself. But most of all, from here, those of us here at Code Avengers, myself, Sarah, and the whole team, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it, and have an amazing day. Feel free to send us any questions or comments. All right, ka kite, we'll see you later.